What if I told you that right now? Something massive is unfolding beneath the surface of your life, something so powerful. It could completely shift your reality. Most people miss the early clues. They dismiss them, downplay them, and carry on like nothing's happening. But if you've landed here and you're watching this video, something deep within you already knows. A major change is on its way, and it won't be small. Before we dive in, if you're ready to uncover life's hidden patterns and begin seeing what others often overlook, go ahead and tap that like button and subscribe, because today we're breaking down 8 undeniable signs that your life is on the verge of a powerful transformation. So, if you've been feeling that something's off, or perhaps that something bigger is trying to get your attention, stick around. These signs might be exactly the wake-up call you've been waiting for. Point 1. You're experiencing a deep sense of restlessness. Have you ever woken up in your apartment in Cedar Springs, or grabbed your usual coffee at Maple and Main Cafe and suddenly felt like none of it made sense anymore? The job you once poured yourself into now feels hollow. Friends you used to laugh with now feel like strangers. The routines that once anchored you, they've become cages. You feel a strange kind of itch, one that doesn't go away. A persistent tug in your chest that whispers, you're meant for more. This isn't boredom. This isn't a mood swing. This is something deeper. This is your soul signaling that you've outgrown your current reality. It's a quiet nudge, or sometimes a scream from the universe, telling you that the life you've been living is no longer your home. At first, it's disorienting. You may catch yourself thinking, what's wrong with me? But the truth is, nothing is wrong. Everything is actually coming together. Your spirit often senses what your mind hasn't caught up to yet. That unease you're feeling, it's growth knocking. And here's the kicker. If you ignore it, life will start forcing change on you. Unexpected job loss, a friendship falling apart, a relationship ending. Not because the world is unfair, but because it's pushing you out of a season you're not meant to stay in. You might even start to feel disappointed in yourself, like you should be doing more but don't know where to start. That's when fear creeps in. Fear of stepping into the unknown. Fear of losing the comfort of the familiar. But restlessness is a gift. It's proof that your purpose is bigger than your present. It's the first crack in the wall that separates you from the life you were always meant to live. Don't fight it. Don't numb it with scrolling or binge watching or overworking. Embrace it, because this feeling isn't here to destroy you. It's here to set you free. 2. People are disappearing from your life. Have you noticed that just when it feels like your life is shifting in a major way, people start quietly disappearing? Friends you once counted on stop returning your texts. People you thought would always have your back start acting distant. Some leave without a word, while others slowly drift out of your orbit until one day you realize they're simply gone. At first, it feels personal, like rejection, like abandonment. You lie awake, running through old conversations in your head, trying to figure out where things went wrong. Did I say something? Was it something I missed? But here's the truth. This isn't about punishment. It's about preparation. When something big is about to unfold in your life, the universe begins to clear the runway. It removes distractions, toxicity, and most importantly, people who no longer fit into the version of your life that's coming. Not everyone is meant to join you on the next chapter. Some folks were only ever meant for a season. And this is where most people struggle. We cling. We chase after people who've already walked out. We try to breathe life back into expired friendships, resuscitate broken relationships, and force connections that no longer serve us. But here's what most don't realize. Holding on to the wrong people can delay your growth. Sometimes, right before a breakthrough, someone close to you will betray your trust. You'll see sides of them you never imagined: jealousy, resentment, even cruelty. Why does it happen? Because deep down, they can sense your evolution. They see the old version of you fading the one they were comfortable with, and they're afraid they won't have a place in your future. But losing people isn't a failure, it's a filter. It's life's way of making sure only the right energy surrounds you as things begin to shift. Imagine trying to climb the mountains outside Flagstone Ridge with a backpack full of rocks. That's what it feels like to drag the wrong people into a chapter they don't belong in. Some connections only thrive when you stay small, predictable, familiar. But the moment you grow, evolve, or decide to take a new path, those ties start to unravel. And that's okay, because the ones who are meant for you, they grow with you. They cheer you on when you rise, not shrink when you shine. So if you're losing people right now, don't panic, don't beg, don't go chasing explanations. Trust the unfolding. The right people will stay, and the ones who leave, they were never part of the destination, just the journey. Let them go, because when life's about to change in a big way, the universe makes damn sure the right ones are standing beside you when it happens. 3. Strange synchronicities keep showing up. Have you been noticing odd patterns, moments that feel like the universe is trying to grab your attention? You glance at the microwave in your apartment in Willowbrook and see 1111 again. You hear a word like breakthrough during a podcast, and then that same word keeps showing up in a book, on a billboard, in a stranger's conversation at the gas station. You think of someone you haven't talked to in years, and they message you out of the blue 5 minutes later. At first, it all seems random, like a fluke, but deep down, you know better. These aren't coincidences. These are signs, little breadcrumbs from something higher, nudging you forward. The universe, God, your intuition, whatever you call it, is speaking, and it's time to start listening. 4. Synchronicity, when life starts sending you signals. This phenomenon is known as synchronicity, and it's one of the clearest signs that your life is about to pivot in a major way. These aren't random coincidences. They're messages, whether you believe it's the universe, God, your inner wisdom, or something beyond explanation. It's trying to catch your attention. It's stitching together numbers, people, signs, and symbols in ways that only those who are really tuned in can detect. The more you begin to notice these synchronicities, the closer you are to a major life shift. And here's where things get wild. The bigger the breakthrough on the horizon, the louder these signs become. At first, it starts subtle. Maybe you see 333 on your receipt from a small bakery in Chestnut Hill. Maybe you hear your favorite song, one that holds personal meaning at just the right moment. Or you have a dream that feels so vivid, it stays with you all day. But if you don't pay attention, these signs get harder to ignore. The repeating numbers start showing up everywhere on license plates, street signs, docks, clocks, receipts. The timing of random events becomes uncanny. It's like life is putting glowing arrows right in front of you, urging you to look up and take notice. When synchronicities start showing up, pay attention to what's happening around you. What were you thinking about when you saw 1111 on your phone screen? What decision were you about to make when a stranger mentioned the exact thing that's been on your mind? These are not accidents. They're clues, hints that you're either walking the right path or being nudged to shift course towards something greater. Here's the truth. Most people miss. Synchronicities aren't just signs. They're invitations. Life isn't showing you these moments just for fun. It's calling you to move, to decide, to step into a version of yourself that's more aligned with where you're meant to be. This is where many get stuck. They notice the signs, they feel the pull, but they don't act. They keep their life on autopilot, pretending nothing unusual is happening even when life itself is waving a giant neon flag in their face. And when you ignore these signals, the opportunities connected to them can quietly fade away. So if the odd little coincidences are happening more often, don't brush them aside. Lean in. Ask yourself, what is life trying to tell me right now? Because the truth is, you're being led towards something bigger than you've ever imagined. The only real question is, are you listening? Unexpected doors start to open. Picture this: you're going through your usual Tuesday in Willowbrook. Nothing special on the horizon. You grab coffee at your regular spot, head to work, go about your day, and then, boom, an email shows up out of nowhere, someone offering you a job you didn't apply for. You strike up a casual conversation with a stranger at the dog park, and they end up introducing you to a person who could change your entire career path. Or an idea hits you out of the blue, an idea that gives you chills. It's that powerful. You can't stop thinking about it. It doesn't feel random. It feels placed in your mind for a reason. In those moments, everything feels a little surreal. You question it. Is this real? Am I ready for this? You might even hesitate, wondering if it's just too good to be true. But here's what most people don't realize. These moments aren't random. They're invitations. Life is opening a door. Not just any door, a door that leads to the next level of who you're becoming. It might be your dream career, a life-changing move, a new relationship, or a creative calling that transforms your path. But here's the part that stings: most people ignore these doors when they open. They get stuck in fear, caught up in what-ifs, paralyzed by overthinking. And while they hesitate, the opportunity quietly slips through the cracks. Don't wait life's golden tickets. Don't last forever. When life hands you an unexpected opportunity, a golden ticket, it doesn't stick around, patiently waiting for you to muster the courage to act. It shows up, bold and bright. And if you don't step forward, the door quietly closes, maybe not forever, but often long enough that by the time you finally feel ready, the moment's already gone. People who truly move the needle in life, they don't wait for the perfect conditions. They sense the opportunity when it arrives and they act. Think about it. How many times have you looked back on a single moment, a single decision, and realized it could have changed everything? Maybe you were offered a chance to launch something new, but fear talked you out of it. Maybe you met someone who could have opened doors, but you never followed up. Maybe an idea struck you like lightning, but you shelved it, only to see someone else bring that exact idea to life 6 months later. This is why you need to pay attention when something unexpected drops into your lap. It's not luck, it's alignment. It means the universe is reshuffling the pieces in your favor. You're being invited into a new version of reality, but only if you're willing to say yes. Only if you're willing to leap. So the next time something surprising crosses your path, don't talk yourself out of it. Instead, ask, what if this is the moment I've been waiting for? Because honestly, it might be. And the only thing standing between you and that breakthrough is the next choice you make. 6. You feel an irresistible urge to try something new. Ever woken up in your apartment in Brookdale or while driving down Route 17 and suddenly felt an unexplainable pull to do something totally different? Maybe it's the thought of packing up and starting fresh in another city. No clear reason why. Just a deep sense that you need a new environment. Maybe you're drawn to a creative project that's unlike anything you've done before, or out of nowhere, you want to learn a new skill, language, or craft that never even crossed your radar before. It feels random, out of the blue, so you might brush it off, chalk it up to a passing whim. But here's the truth most people overlook: those nudges. They're not random, they're messages. They come from your intuition, your inner compass, the part of you that sees what's coming before your conscious mind can catch up. This is how real transformation begins. Your soul always knows when it's time to pivot, even if your brain is still clinging to the familiar. And when a major shift is on the horizon, these inner signals get stronger. You begin gravitating toward things that align with who you're becoming, not who you've been. But here's the extreme part. Most people ignore these signs. They talk themselves out of it. Why now? I'm too busy. What if it leads nowhere? And just like that, the opportunity fades. The path forward blurs. The future self that tried to get your attention goes quiet. That's the difference between people who stay stuck and those who evolve. The ones who change their lives are the ones who listen. So think about it. What if that sudden craving to move isn't random but a sign that your energy no longer fits the place you're in? What if that wild idea you can't stop thinking about is the first step toward a life you haven't even imagined yet? What if that hobby you're being drawn to is actually preparation for something huge? These aren't just passing thoughts. They're breadcrumbs leading you toward your next chapter. And if you ignore them, life has a way of forcing the change anyway. The discomfort will build. The things that used to make you happy will lose their spark. The life that once fit will start to feel suffocating. Because when your soul is ready to grow, staying the same becomes unbearable. So if you're feeling pulled to try something new, listen. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the right time. Because those nudges, they're not noise. They're your future self calling you forward. And the only real question is, will you answer? 7. Everything starts falling apart. You're moving forward, finally feeling like things are aligning. And then suddenly, it all starts unraveling. That opportunity you were thrilled about, it vanishes. The relationship you thought was rock solid, it starts to crack. The plans you carefully mapped out in your journal at the Hillside Inn over coffee, one by one, they fall through. It feels like the universe is closing doors left and right. No matter what you try, something or someone is standing in your way. The timing feels cruel, like life is working against you. And this is where most people throw in the towel. But here's the truth, this isn't a mistake. It's a test. Right before something major shifts in your life, resistance shows up. The road gets bumpy. The challenges multiply. It's not because the universe or God or fate is trying to block you. It's because it's preparing you. It's testing your readiness. Because let's be real, transformation doesn't come without tension. Breakthroughs never happen in comfort zones. And the greater the breakthrough, the greater the challenge you'll have to overcome first. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how the toughest moments often show up right before something big happens? It's like life is asking, how bad do you want this? Will you keep pushing when it's hard? Or will you walk away the moment it gets uncomfortable? Most people take the path of least resistance. They see plans unravel and assume it's a sign to quit. They tell themselves, maybe this wasn't meant to be, and never realize how close they were to something incredible. Here's the radical truth. Every obstacle in your path right now isn't a dead end, it's a doorway. Life isn't shutting you out. It's shaping you. It's clearing out what no longer belongs. It's teaching you the grit, patience, and perspective you'll need in the next phase of your life. Because if things came easy, if joy, success, growth, and purpose just landed in your lap, you wouldn't be ready, you wouldn't value it, and honestly, you wouldn't be strong enough to hold it. A diamond is forged through pressure. Gold is purified through fire. And the strongest version of you is being formed through adversity. So the next time your world feels like it's collapsing, ask yourself, what if things aren't falling apart? What if they're falling perfectly into place? If you can weather the storm, if you can stay grounded while life shakes things loose, you'll look back and realize that everything was rearranging itself for your highest good. You begin seeing the truth behind people and situations then. Something strange starts happening. You start noticing things you used to overlook. Conversations that once felt casual now seem off, fake, even. You catch the forced chuckles, the smiles that don't reach the eyes, the passive-aggressive compliments that carry a trace of jealousy. Suddenly, you see it all. The flattery that's really manipulation, the kindness that has strings attached, The friendships that were rooted more in convenience than connection. It's like a veil has been lifted, and for the first time, you're seeing people for who they really are, not who they presented themselves to be. At first, this realization hits hard. You walk through the familiar streets of Brookdale, past people you once trusted, and wonder, have they always been like this? The truth, yeah, they probably have. You just weren't in a place to see it. You were too distracted, too hopeful, too focused on being loyal or kind or keeping the peace. But now you're waking up. You used to be too wrapped up in the day-to-day grind to notice. But now you see everything with startling clarity. You realize some of the people you called friends were only around when it was convenient for them. That cousin you always supported. Deep down, they resented your growth. That old relationship, turns out it was more about habit than real connection. It hits hard, like a gut punch. Some of the folks you trusted the most were never actually in your corner. They were just passengers on the part of your journey that no longer fits where you're headed. But it's not just about people. The fog lifts from your entire life. That job you used to be so proud of, it suddenly feels like a cage. The relationship that once gave you a sense of stability, now it drains your energy. The routines you thought were comforting, they feel suffocating now, like a script written for someone else. You start asking yourself questions you used to avoid. Why am I still doing this? Why am I putting up with something that no longer feels right? How long have I been ignoring my own intuition? This is the moment your awareness flips on, and once that happens, there's no turning it off. You can't unknow the truth. You can't go back to pretending. You can't keep playing small when you've seen how much more is out there. And that's where the real shift begins. Because clarity is the first step to true transformation. Once you start seeing life through an honest lens, you begin to understand what needs to be released, what needs to evolve, and what you're no longer willing to accept. The version of you that tolerated less, that person is fading. But here's the part most people don't talk about. It's not easy. This kind of awakening hurts. It's painful to realize that someone you loved wasn't genuine. It's heartbreaking to admit that some relationships were built on illusion. And it's overwhelming to suddenly question everything you thought was solid. That's why so many people resist it. They cling to what's familiar, even if it's toxic. They second-guess their gut. They tell themselves, maybe I'm just being dramatic, because facing the truth means making big, often scary, changes. It means walking away from the known. It means stepping into uncertainty. It means letting go of people, habits, and stories that once gave you comfort. But here's the thing. When your old life starts breaking down, it's not falling apart to punish you. It's clearing space. It's your life making room for something real. So don't fight the unraveling. Don't hold on to things that are already slipping away. The moment you stop resisting and start trusting the truth, that's when everything begins to shift. That's when you finally step into the life you were always meant to live. You feel a deep calm in the middle of chaos. Everything around you seems to be collapsing. Friends are fading. Plans are falling through. What once felt solid now feels like sand beneath your feet. Your old life, it's slipping away faster than you expected. And yet somehow you're not panicking. In fact, somewhere deep inside, beneath all the noise and uncertainty, you feel something unexpected, peace. You can't explain it. You can't point to a reason. But it's there, a quiet, steady calm that whispers, this is not the end. This is the beginning. Most people, when things fall apart, spiral into fear. They cling to anything that feels familiar. They rush to fix, to control, to hold things together. But not you. Yes, you feel the loss. Yes, you're aware of the changes. But there's this steady presence inside that keeps saying, there's purpose in this. You can't see all the pieces yet. The future's still unclear. But your soul knows this is happening for a reason. You might not have all the answers. You might not see the full map laid out in front of you, but deep down you feel it. And that feeling, that's your confirmation. Think about it. How many times have you weathered a storm in your life, only to look back and realize it was guiding you toward something better? How often did something have to break apart before something more aligned could come together? This moment is no different. The confusion, the setbacks, the heartbreak, it's not meaningless. It's part of the rearranging. Life is making space for something greater than you've ever known. But here's the hard truth. Only the ones who can stay calm in the storm will make it to the other side. This is where most people lose their way. When the road gets rough, when everything familiar starts falling away, they panic. They let fear take the wheel. They start doubting their own strength, doubting the path, and worst of all, they start running back to what's comfortable. They try to revive old jobs, old habits, old relationships, never realizing that what's being cleared out is exactly what was holding them back. But you're not like most people. Even as the world around you shifts, even without knowing exactly what's coming, you hold your ground. You trust. You breathe through it. You prepare. You have faith in yourself, in the process, in the unseen forces that are quietly guiding you toward your next chapter. And that, more than anything, is what sets you apart. Because while others are resisting change, clinging to what's already past, you are stepping forward. You're moving in flow with what's coming. Here's what you need to remember. That inner calm you feel, it's not random. It's not a coincidence. It's your soul signaling that you're exactly where you need to be. The storm will pass. The fog will lift. And when it does, everything will begin to make sense. Because on the other side of this chaos is your breakthrough, a life bigger, brighter, and more aligned than the one you're walking away from. So now, the real question is, are you ready for it? Final words. If any of this resonated with you, if you recognized even one of these signs showing up in your life, don't ignore it. You're in the middle of a shift, and something amazing is waiting for you on the other side. Let me know in the comments below which sign hit home for you the most. I'd love to hear your story. And if this message spoke to you, go ahead and like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another video that could change your entire perspective. Remember, the universe is always speaking. The only question is, are you listening?